Greetings, my dear children. How are you today? I hope you all are doing well and good at your places. And I also hope that you all are loving your studies as well. So, my dear children, what are we going to learn today? Any guesses? Think? Oh, so you want to do something different? Why don't we sing a song? Okay, let it be a patriotic song? Okay, let me give you a hint. This song has been written by Muhammad Iqbal. So any guesses? Think? Patriotic song? Yes, it's about India, Hindustan. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा. My dear children, you know the beauty of this song? Yes, it tells how wonderful our country is, how wonderful this nation is. And there are so many qualities that differentiate us from the rest of the world. So my dear children, the best part of this song I would like to share with you is, let's sing together. मज़हब नहीं सिखाता आपस में बैर रखना हिंदी है हम वतन है हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा. So dear children, मजहब नहीं सिखाता आपस में बैर रखना. Let's go into the depth of this very statement. This is what we are going to study today. Yes, I'm talking about secularism, and this is the second chapter of your civics book. So let's start. Therefore, if we ask, what is secularism? Does it teach to differentiate people on the grounds of religion? No, not at all. In fact, secularism does not mean differentiating at all. Rather, all religions hold equal importance here, irrespective of their different religious beliefs. You must have seen people of various religions living together in a state or a nation. All these people follow their religions, like the Hindus follow Hinduism, Christians follow Christianity, and similarly Muslims and Sikhs practice their own religions. Also, many a times people respect not only their own religion but the other people's religion too. No one should be discriminated against on the grounds of religion. Imagine yourself as a Hindu or Muslim living in a part of United States of America where Christian fundamentalism is very powerful. Suppose that despite being a US citizen, no one is willing to rent their house to you. How would this make you feel? Would it not make you feel resentful? What if you decided to complain against this discrimination and were told to go back to India? Would this not make you feel angry? Your anger could take two forms. First, you might react by saying that Christians should get the same treatment in places where Hindus and Muslims are in a majority. This is a form of retaliation. Or you might take a view that there should be justice for all. You may fight, stating that no one should be discriminated against on grounds of the religious practices and beliefs. This statement rests on the assumption that all forms of domination related to the religion should end. This is the essence of secularism. So now we will study this in Indian context. History provides us with many examples of discrimination, exclusion, and persecution on the grounds of religion. You may have read about how Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany and how several millions were killed. Now, however, the Jewish state of Israel treats its own Muslims and Christians minorities quite badly. In Saudi Arabia, non-Muslims are not allowed to build a temple, church, etc. and nor can they gather in a public place for prayers. In all the above examples, members of one religious community either persecute or discriminate against members of the other religious community. These acts of discrimination take place more easily when one religion is given official recognition by the state at the expense of other religions. Clearly, no one would wish to be discriminated against because of their religion or dominated by another religion. So what is secularism? Dear children, secularism primarily has two main proposals. Number one, the functions and the policy determination of the state shall not be intervened by any religion. Number two, the followers of all religions will be considered equal in law. So dear children, let's try to understand this. Why is it important to separate religion from the state? The most important aspect of secularism is its separation of religion from state power. This is important for a country to function democratically. Almost all countries of the world will have more than one religious group living in them. Within these religious groups, there will most likely be one group that is in a majority. If this majority religious group has access to state power, then it could quite easily use this power and financial resources to discriminate against and persecute persons of other religions. This tyranny of the majority could result in the discrimination, coercion, and at times even the killing of religious minorities. The majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religions. Any form of domination based on religion is in violation of the rights that a democratic society guarantees to each and every citizen irrespective of their religion. Therefore, the tyranny of the majority and the violation of fundamental rights that can result is one reason why it is important to separate the state and religion in democratic societies. Another reason that it is important to separate religion from the state in democratic societies is because we also need to protect the freedom of the individuals to exit from the religion, embrace another religion, or have the freedom to interpret religious teachings differently. To understand this point better, let us take the practice of untouchability. You might feel that you dislike this practice within Hinduism and therefore you want to try to reform it. However, if state power were in the hands of those Hindus who support untouchability, then do you think that you would have an easy task to try and change this? Even if you were a part of the dominant religious group, you might face a lot of resistance from the fellow members of your own community. These members who have control of state power might say that there is only one interpretation of Hinduism and that you do not have the freedom to interpret this differently. Let's try to understand what all we have understood till now. So what do you think? Is the main central idea of secularism? Yes, the central idea of secularism is to end the dominance of religion. So now, fill in this blank. The accreditation to keep the religion separate from the functions of the state is known as dash. I repeat, the accreditation to keep the religion separate from the functions of the state is known as, correct, it is called secularism. The accreditation to keep the religion separate from the functions of the state is known as secularism. Next, in Germany, the Jews were persecuted by whom? Correct. In Germany, the Jews were persecuted by Adolf Hitler's government. Okay, now tell, when do the incidents of discrimination happen more? Yes, such incidents are reported more when a particular religion is favored more than the rest of the religions being practiced. Okay, my dear children, your fifth question is on the screen. What kind of feelings are aroused among the people by mutual discrimination? Correct. Discrimination arises the feelings of anger, opposition and revenge. Now let's try to understand the Indian secularism. The Indian Constitution mandates that the Indian state be secular. According to the Constitution, only a secular state can realize its objectives to ensure the following. Number 1, that one religious community does not dominate another. Number 2, that some members do not dominate other members of the same religious community. And number 3, that the state does not enforce any particular religion nor take away the religious freedom of the individuals. The Indian state works in various ways to prevent the above domination. First, it uses a strategy of distancing itself from religion. The Indian state is not ruled by a religious group and nor does it support any one religion. In India, government spaces like law courts, police stations, government schools and offices are not supposed to display or promote any one religion. Okay, now let me tell you a short story. Look here, in a government school in Simapur, students want to celebrate a religious festival. Sir, there is a big religious festival next month. We have never celebrated it in the school. Can we do this year? I'm afraid that isn't possible, Rekha. This is a government school. We cannot give importance to any one religion. Private schools may do that. Government schools don't celebrate any religious festival in the school premises. Most religious festivals are public holidays so that we can celebrate these at our home. Then the students started talking among themselves. I never thought of it this way. I guess we can always celebrate it outside the school. Anyway, we are planning to celebrate it in our locality. So my dear children, the short story is over. In the above storyboard, the celebration of the religious festival within the school would have been a violation of the government's policy of treating all religions equally. Government schools cannot promote any one religion, either in their morning prayers or through religious celebrations. This rule does not apply to private schools. The second way in which Indian secularism works to prevent the above domination is through a strategy of non-interference. This means that in order to respect the sentiments of all religions and not interfere with the religious practices, the state makes certain exceptions for particular religious community. Now look at another short story given in your book. A group of friends who have recently bought scooters are meeting to go for a ride together. Listen to their conversation now. Hey, I hope you have a helmet. You know the law in Delhi requires that you wear one. Why aren't you wearing a helmet? Do you want to be fined? And look at this answer given by Paramjit. Don't worry, I'll not be fined. Then his friend again asks him, Hey Paramjit, why won't you be fined? And then Paramjit answers, For sakes, wearing a pagri is very important part of our religion. The government cannot force me to wear a helmet. Oh. So my dear children, in the above storyboard, Paramjit the Sikh youth does not have to wear a helmet. This is because the Indian state recognizes that wearing a pagri or a turban is the central to Sikh religious practice, and in order to not to interfere with this, allows the exception in the law. The third way in which Indian secularism works to prevent the domination listed earlier is through a strategy of intervention. You read earlier in this chapter about untouchability. This is a good example where members of the same religion, upper caste Hindus, dominate other members, some lower caste within it. In order to prevent this religious biased expulsion and discrimination of lower caste, the Indian Constitution bans untouchability. In this instance, the state is intervening in religion in order to end a social practice that it believes discriminates and excludes and that violates the fundamental rights of lower caste who are citizens of this country. Similarly, to ensure the laws relating to equal inheritance rights are respected, the state may have to intervene in the religious-based personal laws of communities. The intervention of the state can also be in the form of sport. The Indian Constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. It also gives them financial aid on a non-preferential basis. Now let's discuss in what way is Indian secularism different from that of the other democratic countries. The First Amendment of the US Constitution prohibits the legislature from making laws respecting an establishment of religion, or that prohibit the free exercise of religion. This means that the legislature cannot declare any religion as the official religion, nor can they give preference to one religion. In the United States of America, the separation between state and religion means that neither the state nor religion can interfere in the affairs of one another. You must have understood that there is one significant way in which Indian secularism differs from the dominant understanding of secularism as practiced in United States of America. This is because unlike the strict separation between the religion and the state in American secularism, in Indian secularism, the state can intervene in religious affairs. In Feb 2004, France passed a law banning students from wearing any conspicuous religious or political signs or symbols such as Islamic headscarf, the Jewish skull cap, or large Christian crosses. This law has encountered a lot of resistance from immigrants who are mainly from the former French colonies of Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. In these 1960s, France had faced a shortage of workers and therefore had provided visas for the immigrants to come and work in the country. The daughters of these immigrants often wear headscarves while attending the school. However, with the passing of this new law, they have been expelled from their school for wearing headscarves. So, you have read about how the Indian Constitution intervened in Hindu religious practices in order to abolish untouchability. In Indian secularism, though the state is not strictly separate from religion, it does maintain a principled distance vis-a-vis religion. This means that any interference in religion by the state has to be based on the ideals laid out in the Constitution. These ideals serve as the standard through which we can judge whether the state is or is not behaving according to the secular principles. The Indian state is secular and works in various ways to prevent religious domination. The Indian Constitution guarantees fundamental rights that are based on these secular principles. However, this is not to say that there is no violation of these rights in Indian society. Indeed, it is precisely because such violations happen frequently that we need a constitutional mechanism to prevent them from happening. The knowledge that such rights exist makes us sensitive to their violations and enables us to take action when these violations take place. So my dear children, I hope you had a wonderful interaction with me today and learned a lot about secularism. Dear children, I also hope that today you must be feeling more proud about your country, about this beautiful quality enshrined in our Constitution named as secularism. So my dear children, let's try to recall what all we have learnt by now. Let's do some question answers. Are you ready? Come on, join me. Now let us all recapitulate together. Multiple choice questions. Choose the correct option. Which one is a correct statement with regard to Saudi Arabia? So listen to the statements carefully and tell me which is correct. A. Non-Muslims can gather in a public place for prayer. B. They cannot build a temple, church, etc. C. They can live in their own way. D. None of the above. So which one is a correct statement with regard to Saudi Arabia? Correct. Option B. They cannot build a temple or church, etc. Look at the second sentence now. The most important aspect of secularism is its, think. Your options are A. Separation of religion from state power. B. The separation of politics from religion. C. Separation of one community from another. And D. Mixing of religion with state power. Think. Correct response is option A. Separation of religion from state power. The most important aspect of secularism is its separation of religion from state power. Okay, my dear children, look at this third sentence. The government cannot force Sikhs to wear a helmet while driving two-wheelers because your options are A. Sikhs are very powerful. B. They do not obey government rules. C. They look handsome in pagri. And D. Wearing a pagri is very important part of Sikh religion. So, which option do you think is correct? Yes, option D. Wearing a pagri is a very important part of Sikh religion. Now look at this fourth sentence. In American secularism, there is a dash. Your options are strict separation between religion and the state. B. Loose separation between religion and the state. C. Strict mingling of religion with the state. And D. Strict rule that contracts all religions. Correct. A. Strict separation between religion and the state. Okay, my dear children, now fill in these blanks. First, the intervention of the state can also be in the form of dash. Yes, sport. The intervention of the state can also be in the form of sport. Second, in United States of America, most children in the government schools have to begin their school day reciting the pledge of dash. Correct. Pledge of Allegiance. Third, the most important aspect of secularism is its separation from religion, from dash power. State power. Correct.
Government schools don't celebrate any dash festivals in school premises. So, what do you think is the answer? Correct. Religious. Government schools don't celebrate any religious festivals in the school premises.
Fifth, the Indian state is not ruled by a dash group and nor does it dash any religion. Yes, the Indian state is not ruled by a religious group and nor does it support any one religion. Correct. Now, state whether each of the following statements here are true or false. Number 1. In Indian secularism, the state is not strictly separate from religion. Is it true or false? Correct, it's true. Second, wearing a pagri is central to a sixth religious practice. Is it true or false? Correct, it's true. Third, government schools can promote any one religion. False. This statement is false. The Indian Constitution does not grant religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. False. In Indian secularism, the state cannot intervene in religion. False. Last question for you is, look up the annual calendar of holidays of your school. How many of them pertain to different religions? What does this indicate? So, this is your homework, my dear children. I repeat, look up the annual calendar of the holidays of your school. How many of them pertain to different religions? What does this indicate? So, my dear children, सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तां हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा. With this, I would like to take your leave today. Keep singing. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तां हमारा हमारा. So, my dear children, I'll see you soon again with another exciting, informative interaction. Till then, stay home, stay happy and healthy.